That being said, one person with a message can make the world a better place. Willie Nelson has been through more grief than most people could handle at 92 years old. That happy finish is over. He has lost friends, money, and seen his dreams turn into dust. Hi there, my long. That's it. He's about to say something shocking that will shock everyone who hears it. Why do you want to look at me? I have nothing to say. When people ask Willie about death, he doesn't even blink. His answer is brutally honest, cutting through decades of lies. When I lost my son, that was a big low point, and everything else looked small in comparison. What, though, made this famous criminal so sure that he was going to die? We're all pretty much the same. What makes you and me laugh or cry? It's likely to make other people laugh or cry. This person has been through a lifetime of unbearable pain, crushing defeats and losses that would break other guys. A lot of people don't like to see get hit. This is not a clean version of Willie Nelson's story. When life takes away everything you thought was important, this is what you find. That doesn't happen very often with people as independent as you and me. I mean, it's about a man who learned that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let go instead of trying to stay alive. Being clear on this point in time began a long time before Willie became famous. I went on stage for the first time when I was 5 years old. It all began in the dusty, hopeless state of Texas during the Great Depression, where a young boy would learn his first painful lesson about being left behind. Willie Hugh Nelson was born in Abbott, Texas on April the 29th, 1933. But from the time he was very young, it seemed like the world was set on teaching him that nothing lasts forever. That one. I believe that if you can get through that, you can get through anything else. He was born to Merle and Ira Nelson, who had big hopes for their small town. That could hold. When their dreams took them somewhere else, they made a choice that would change Willie's whole view of the world. Willie saw his mother leave when he was only 6 years old. She promised to come back when things got better, so she left him and his sister Bobby with their grandparents. Those better times never came. After getting married again, his dad started a new life. This made Willie wonder what he did wrong and why he wasn't worth staying for. Being left behind hurt deeply and left wounds that would never fully heal. I used to drink a lot. A long time ago, I smoked a lot. William and Nancy Smothers, Willie's grandparents, tried their best to make things right. They taught him singing and gave him his first guitar when he was 6 years old. But their love couldn't get rid of the main question that kept bothering him. Why wasn't he good enough to keep his parents? Willie worked in the cotton fields with foreign workers during the hot summers in Texas. It was so hot that picking cotton with his little hands would hurt. For an adult, the job was unbearable, but for a child, it was terrible. Don't feel too bad about it, though. You'll lose it again. My friend, just delete and skip ahead. But Willie learned something useful about endurance. How to keep going even when it hurts and it seems easy to give up. The young boy felt better when he heard music. He wrote his first song when he was 7 years old. It was rough and simple, but it helped him talk about how he felt in a way that he couldn't have done anything else. He found something powerful on stage when he was 10 and joined his first band, the Bohemian Pula. It didn't matter that they left. The crowd liked him and wanted him to be there. But I always thought of you, even when music became his escape. There were still scars from being abandoned. Willie learned early on that people can leave, that vows can be broken, and that you shouldn't depend on anyone but yourself. What rules does your family follow? There are 3. Don't be a jerk. You did a terrible thing if you broke 3. He would learn a lot from this hard lesson in the rough music business. However, also helped him understand something that most people don't get. That bond with something, even life itself, could turn into a jail. People who should have loved the boy the most left him behind while he picked cotton in 100-degree heat. He was learning that having nothing left to lose is the best way to be free. I feel like I'm just another singer or guitar player. There are better singers and guitarists out there, I know that. Willie Nelson thought he had found love by the early 1960s. He married Martha Matthews, and their life seemed to be going great. Lana, Susie, and Billy, their 3 beautiful children, made everyone laugh in their home. Willie was living his dream in Nashville, which is the center of country music. He was writing songs that would become hits there. You fell, and I would not have found you if you hadn't. Willie learned that dreams don't pay the bills, though. Willie was having a hard time making ends meet, even though big stars like Patti Klinne were recording his songs. To put food on the table, he did odd jobs like selling encyclopedias door to door and pumping gas. The man who would become a multimillionaire slept on friends' couches and bought food by counting pennies. Martha got tired of having to fight all the time. She married a dreamer, but now she lived in a 3-bedroom house with empty cabinets and notes that bills were past due. Small disagreements about money and missed chances led to the fights. But they got meaner, louder, and happened more often. When Willie got home from another failed interview, Martha's anger was ready to shoot him like a gun. Willie felt like something inside him was being crushed. "What do you call that thing over there?" "Frank, I want it my way." "Touché, rattle." He began drinking a lot and drowning his feelings of failure in booze and self-pity. Martha's sadness turned into a mirror that showed him everything he had failed to be. Someone who could write songs that made a lot of people cry couldn't make his wife smile. Willie reached his lowest point on a very bad winter night. It was getting late, the bills were past due, and Martha had said some hurtful things that could not be fixed. Willie was so drunk that he could barely stand when he walked out into the cold streets of Nashville. He made a choice that still bothers him when he was at his worst. He laid down in the street and hoped that a car would come along and take away the pain. When the road hit his back, it felt like ice. Willie closed his eyes and waited for the headlights to come on. Drivers of the cars around him dodged and cursed, but none of them gave him the peace he was looking for. There, for what seemed like hours, he knew for the first time that the most urgent thing to do is also the most cowardly thing to do. As he finally dragged himself home, Martha was there to greet him. But instead of comforting him, she gave him choices. Instead of understanding, she told him all the things he had done wrong. In every way, the marriage was over. Willie was aware of this. He had learned yet another harsh lesson, that love itself could be used as a weapon, that the people who are closest to you can hurt you the most. Yes. What do you mean by that? It was hard for the man who sang about broken hearts to understand that some wounds are too deep for music to heal. On December 25, 1991, the Nelson family should have been having a party. On Christmas morning, there are gifts under the tree and kids playing with their new toys all over the house. Music Willie Nelson would remember that day for the rest of his life. Billy Nelson, Willie's oldest son, had been having a hard time for many years. It was like carrying a heavy weight every day when you were Willie Nelson's son in Texas. People thought Billy would be like his famous father everywhere he went. They wanted the easy smile, charm, and skill that made Willie a star. But Billy had to fight problems that fame couldn't hurt. Depression had sucked more air out of Billy's lungs like a snake. Every year, he had his father's sensitive soul, but not his talent for turning pain into art. Willie could write a song about sadness that helped people get better, but Billy was just hurt. The medicine did not work. The therapy meetings didn't seem to help, and the weight of expectations became too much to bear. Bobby, Willie's sister, later told how close the family was on Christmas morning. Billy and Willie had been planning to make a gospel album together, where they would share their faith and singing. They had booked the recording time and picked out the songs. For a moment, it looked like they could connect through Willie's favorite thing, his music. However, Billy had already chosen what he would do. Too much pain and too much darkness had set in. As people across the United States opened gifts and ate meals with their families on Christmas Day, Billy Nelson decided to end his story. He was 33 years old when he died, the same age as Christ. This fact would bother Willie for years. The call came in the afternoon. The words hit Willie like a punch in the gut as he was getting ready for another Christmas party. His first son, the boy who carried his name in dreams, had died, not because of an accident. Willie died not of sickness but of a choice he couldn't understand or change. People whispered and kept quiet at the funeral, making it sound like a nightmare. It was quiet as people talked about Billy's problems, the stress of being Willie Nelson's son, and the signs they should have seen. Willie, on the other hand, sat there in stunned silence and thought about every exchange and chance he missed to say the right thing. Sister Bobby Nelson, who